Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Putri Nabilla N.S. I'm a student from President University. I'm majoring in international relations. You can find me on my Instagram at benabilanov, or you can reach me on my email below. Thank you.
So, in this week, we're going to talk about political authority. From Max Weber, a human community that successfully claims the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force within a given territory. So, politics as a vocation. State has monopoly of the legitimate use of force. The state is the only authority that can use force in a legal way. One of the reasons why police have authority because we give them authority in the first place. When we are citizens, we pay taxes. Taxes used to pay the police. It's kind of we give up some our right. And then if someone has power, doesn't mean he or he has authority. But if someone has authority, she or he definitely has power. That's the understanding about authority. Then political authority. From Michael Humer, that in the hypothesis moral property in virtue of which governments may coerce people in certain ways not permitted to anyone else, and in virtue of which citizens must obey governments in situations in which they would not be obligated to obey anyone else. It's kind of hard to understand, but in summarize is authority is something that abstract and it has moral, deals with right and wrong. A kind of property that government is allowed to tell you, even to force you to do things. Political authority has two things. There is political legitimacy, the right to rule, and political obligation, duty to obey. And then, what gives you the right to boss me around, like political authority, or what gives you the right to boss me around? We ask the government why. What is the right that you got that you can boss me around? So there are sources of political authority. Source of the legitimacy is different. For example, like Kim Jong-un and Jokowi. Jokowi get authority from election, while the Kim Jong-un from political dynasty. So we're gonna dig deeper into the form of government. That there are and Aristotle's 6 forms of government. We're gonna talk more deeper about that. Yeah. Monarchy, tyranny, aristocracy, oligarchy, polity, and democracy. The first one is monarchy. It means that ruled by one, ruled by a king or a queen. One person control everything. It's in a state. For example, North Korea, Dubai. And then the second is tyranny. The evil version of monarchy. So this is basically ruled by evil leader, so tyrant. For example, Hitler. Power is concentrated in one person. And then aristocracy, ruled by few, sharing power with elites, elite or noble. They care about the people. There is a bad and good on the leader. For example, President Suharto. Then oligarchy, ruled by a few but not so good leader. This is maybe like steal from citizens' benefit. And then polity. Polity is the ideal of Greek state. Citizens can vote in every aspect, also can speak, but everybody in here is just for a man. Women can interfere or get included in this government activities like that. So just a man in here polity. And then the last is democracy. It is ruled by many, and democracy is the worst form of state based on Aristotle. This is like mob mentality, like about tyranny of majority, like that. Okay, we gotta go to like the form of authority. This first is divine right, the oldest source of political authority, still used in theocratic regimes and religious settings, currently viewed as an absolute source of authority. Like, for example, Ayatollah is viewed by the representative of Allah, and Iran or Vatican, like that. And then natural law. This is one of the source political authority. Legitimacy and authority comes from being the most powerful individual within the society, primus inter pares. And the second is often linked with tribalism, social Darwinism, and patriarchy. And then the last is democracy. Legitimacy comes from the people who vote for their representatives. Hence, the mandate of the Messiah is given legitimacy. So, there are three sources of legitimacy: legitimate authority, that is charisma, legal, rational, and traditional. Charisma is when we trust people who has charismatic, example like President Sukarno or Che Guevara. And then the traditional, it is like adat in Indonesia or religion, something like that. And then legislational, it is authority that comes from law. For example, our constitution, that is UUD. And then where does obligations come from? Our obligation. So basically, we consent of the government or to the government. You have decided to elect the leader in one way or another, hence you are obligated to obey. What if you didn't have a say in it? If we cannot prove we have an obligation to obey, political authority cannot exist. This is basically like signing the contract, like the previous material about social contract theories, that we give our consent to the government, so government can give us like obligation maybe. So we have obligation to the government to obey. That's it. And then why should have political authority? Like, then who should have political authority? So the people have the largest political power. Political legitimacy comes from consent of the governed, and the government is simply a reflection of the mandate of the people and have authority because they are legitimized by the people. That's the circle. And then how does legitimacy work in a democracy? In democracy, it's impossible to everyone speak and be heard. So when people they show their consent and give the authority to representative government, so the people that have political authority in democracy system is the one who run the government. So there is a citizen transfer the consent to the government. Like transfer authority or transfer power maybe. And then the contrasting argument. A contrasting has argument that crowds make better decisions than a single voter, and hence democracies make better decisions than non-democracies. Two heads are better than one, more heads are better than one. That is exactly the contrasense means about democracy is about a lot of people, that a lot of people is better than one people. But more voters really make better decisions. It will be another equation. What if they were manipulated? What if they were motivated by their own interest, which comes from a disagreement of what the common good is? So there is the issue of voting. Like, does voting collect interest or preference? Or if everyone were truly equal, why can't everyone vote? Why should we allow people who know nothing in a political vote? That's the problem. And then Russia, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm really sorry. Russia's response, Conversant's argument will only work if everyone is educated to a certain degree, and they need to know what the common interest is. Balance to authority. Understanding the only form of authority that passes itself in a monopoly of violence is inherently illegitimate, and the other is Epicurean style communist syndicalism, anarcho-syndicalism, and etc. The simple definition about Epicurean state is when we imagine like living in a dorm and decide the power, divide the work, and so on. And then when the people lose political authority, political authority is not eternal. People lose authority when their source of legitimate or obligation runs out. In democracy, people lose their authority because the time is run out. And political authority can be legitimately challenged. For example, like coup d'etats is about just military take over the government. So we need about power in military, and then impeachment. We don't trust you anymore. Then go out. There's like about protest, and then vote of no confidence. In Indonesia, it's like mostly tidak percaya. Like, stop what they are doing. We tend, we tend to use this kind of thing. Mostly tidak percaya. You know the example, like the example about the newest thing that is omnibus law, and then our citizens up this vote of no confidence or masih tidak percaya. And then the last is popular overthrow. It is about revolution. It is about reformation. And not about political authority, about lost political authority. It's hard to gain authority, but very easy to lose it. So be careful about your authority. Okay. The conclusion is political authority comes from both legitimacy and obligation. And if you may wonder who is supposed to govern, it's still a relevant question today. So we don't know about the answer. I think in my personal opinion that who is the govern, who are the best form of government, like that, who is the best source of authority, will be a question, but it depends on what or who the leader, who the government. And the last is the Tocqueville's argument against democracy. In democracy in America, the Tocquevilles noted the tyranny of majority. If 51% of the people agree, for example, to kill a Japanese or anything, decision is the decision of legitimate. It is not true, like right, like when we have 51% of people agree to kill a cat, for example. So the 49%, whether they like it or not, they have to obey the number, the majority. That's it. So this may be like the argument about against democracy. When it says it's illegal, it doesn't mean it's also morally correct. It's democracy problem. And then Plato's argument against democracy. Plato vehemently distrusted democracy. Craft knowledge is would you trust an engineer to perform surgery on you? That's really right. So Plato's belief that the people who run the government should have like capability to run the government itself. They have skill, they have knowledge, they have experience to run the government. And then Plato's philosopher king is a ruler who has a love of wisdom, and through the rule is legitimate because they are the ones who are capable of addressing political issues. In favor of the philosopher's king, in modern era, its modern form is a benevolent dictatorship, for example, like Singapore, about Lee Kuan Yew's rule. So guys, I think that's all for week 4 about political authority. Thank you for watching me, and if you notice there are a wrong statement, you can confirm me, or you can contact me via email or Instagram, whatever contact that you want to contact me, it's okay. Then thank you so much for Sir Gusti, Bagus, Dharma, Agastia that has given me material nicely so I can understand easily. Thank you for everyone that support me in this project. Thank you so much. So thank you also for Slide School that provide me this paper at time that helps me to make a PPT basically. Thank you so much, and see you on the next week. Bye bye.